both commissioners and in the audience. And we will start things off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I introduce the commissioners, just a FYI, there are emergency exits in the back of the room and then to my right. If there's a problem in the building, please do not use the elevator, use the stairways. If you need help with the stairways, just reach out to one of the commissioners for help. We'll start with introduction of commissioners. We'll start to my left.
Val Conley.
Eileen Chabot.
Bob Sproul. Rick Metz.
Jay Hildreth.
Cheryl Hulbert.
And I'm the chair, Rick Bazanga. We also have our council liaison, Charles Foote, to my right, and our land manager, Beth Carver, to my left. We'll start things off with, let's do approval of minutes first. Everybody should have had a chance to look at them. I think there are some circulating if you want to look at them. If there are no changes required, I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
So we have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes of October 6th by Mr. Metz. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Cheryl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we have correspondence. Some urgent correspondence, and DTV is going to put this up on the screen. We had a notification from DES of groundwater contamination, their groundwater contamination notification program. It's notification number 2025-0801-1A, and it's in reference to 24 English Range Road. It's a lengthy letter, but there's some contaminants found in a well there. And there's a link here for people near that well. They can have their wells tested. So that'll come up on DTV with the link. And I'm going to pass this to the commissioners, starting to my right, Mr. Metz. We also have a communication from SELT regarding monitoring at Gunther and Nelson, Ferdinando 1, Ferdinando 2. The monitoring reports came through. I read through them. They all look good. I'll also hand those to my right, to Mr. Metz. We have a publication, Great Bay Matters, talks about the ecosystem at Great Bay, and that will be passed also to my right, Mr. Metz. We did receive 2 invoices. One is from the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions, and it is in the amount of $850, which is our annual dues. The New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions puts on a number of workshops throughout the year, and they basically help conservation commissions conduct their business. So it's a bill in the amount of $850. I'll accept a motion to approve that bill.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Metz. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Second by Ms. Chabot. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone in opposition? Any abstention? Motion carries. I'm going to pass this to my left down to our land manager, Beth Carver, and she can get it paid. Excuse me 1 minute.
Yes.
I'm not done. Thank you. We have a second invoice from Larson Appraisal Company for a property that we have ordered an appraisal on. The amount is $1,650. I'd like to have a motion to pay that bill.
So moved.
Second?
On that first and second, I think I have to backtrack. On the previous motion to pay the bill to the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions, could I offer a friendly amendment to that motion that the funds be used out of the administrative account? Who made that motion? Mr. Metz, would you accept that friendly amendment?
Yes, sir.
All right, so add that that's going to be out of the administrative account. On this appraisal, Mr. Metz, would you accept a friendly amendment on that appraisal to also come out of the administrative account?
Yes, sir.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to pay Larson Appraisal Company $1,650 out of the administrative account. Is there a second? I think there was one, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Jay second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? Motion carries. Beth, I'm going to also send this your way. Okay, that's it for correspondence. We have our first site plan review, 65 Kilray Road, Book 6489, page 2776. Just state your name for the record. And is this your stuff?
No, that's...
No? Okay. And if you have plans you have for the commissioners, you can just hand them out.
Yep,
Thanks.
I have for small and I have full size.
All right, thank you, yep.
Share.
We could share.
Good share. No problem.
Thank you.
All good. Evening. I'm Keith Coviello from Keach Nordstrom Associates, here representing Adam and Brooke Runberg to build a single-family home up off of Kilray Road on 65 Kilray. The parcel is 28 acres. It's going to require a 1,600-foot-long driveway to get to the meat of the property. Property's been kicking around for a while for development, but it's got some steep grades, which makes it tough for road design with the town of Derry's road design standards. But they're a little more lax with the driveway, so we're able to get up there safely. And it does require one wetland crossing. The crossing's been sized. Probably needed a 24 or 30-inch pipe, but we're putting a 36-inch pipe in, make sure that there's plenty of room. And like I said, single-family house lot, on-site well and septic. We're still waiting to meet with the code enforcement and the fire chief to determine if the turnaround at the end by the house is sufficient, or if they want something more. There's plenty of room to do more if we need to. But we're here tonight, hopefully, to get your endorsement on a permit by notification.
All right, so you have a application into DES for the wetland crossing?
No, I have the application here. The permit by notification requires, the Conservation Commission's signature. So I'd be here to...
So you haven't submitted the request yet?
Not submitted, nope.
Okay.
This is the first meeting of the project. I do have a full-size set. If I know sometimes those small plans can be tough to see.
So on the culvert, is it an open box culvert? What kind of pipe is it?
36-inch HDPE culvert, yep. Head walls on either side.
Head walls on both sides? Is it going to be gravel on the bottom or just open?
It was just going to be regular pipe bottom
Pipe.
was the intent.
Commissioners, do we need to walk this?
I think we should. It's not a minimal amount of, even though it's a PBN, it's not a minimal amount of wetland being filled. I think we should take a look at it.
Eileen, walk me through this. This is a notification of application. So it goes, he needs us to sign off on it to go to DES for the permit. Is that how that works?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. And then do we look at this again, or is this our only look?
I think we should just look at it and then agree to, either agree or not agree to sign it, but yeah.
So would we require this applicant to come back for another meeting?
Either that, or could we, our site visit is a meeting, could we decide right then and there and have the applicant there, and maybe you could sign it right then, after we look at it?
Is that the only impact, just the crossing?
That is correct. It's about halfway up the road.
How accessible is the property right now?
So, like I said, it's been kicked around for a bit, and at some point, someone cleared a path where they thought a road was going to go. So we've tried to place our new roadway in that same path. So you can park down by the street. You definitely have to walk up, but you can walk right up the... It's overgrown now with brush and the like, but it's pretty cleared. You can walk straight up to the crossing. But it's definitely a walk, not a drive. And it's about, I don't know, just over 1,000 feet uphill.
So I see on the last page, it says in the notes that the Blandings turtle, which is state endangered, is found within the vicinity of the project area. The spotted turtle is also very likely to occur in the vicinity. And the eastern box turtle.
I believe all three, there was hits for all three of them.
I think, Mr.
that why you're
Chair, I
making
think
it- is
that's
that why
another
you-
good reason to look at
I'm sorry,
it.
Eileen. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
No, I didn't. Go ahead.
I think that's another good reason for us to have a site visit and take a
Yeah.
look.
And you said the pipe's 36 inches?
Correct.
Have you talked to the Fish and Game at all about, because they have a fact sheet on culverts, in regards to turtles especially, so that turtles are able to access, through the pipe and get to the other side.
That was not part of their recommendation that came back to us. It was those pamphlets, that what's on that back sheet is basically what they came back with regards to proximity and location of the hits for the property.
In their letter, they didn't talk about the culvert and how they prefer like a flat culvert so that the turtle can move through? No?
Not really. I don't, I can reread it, but I don't think so. Basically, the verbiage that's on that last sheet is straight from their correspondence. And then obviously the fact sheets of the turtles are straight from, they want to make sure that everybody's aware of them.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it in the full size, those notes?
Yeah, it's hard to read, yeah.
It is,
It's really
yeah.
fine, fine print.
picture, but it's...
Yeah, the pictures are great. The notes are hard to read. Thank you. Thank you, that's very helpful.
Is that the only wetland on the property, just that one piece that you're crossing?
I believe so. I don't know if they flagged the entire property, but they did obviously check all the areas where we're showing topography.
Right. Any other commissioners? I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. We heard from Eileen. Anyone else want to chime in on it? Anyone have questions?
I just
Comments?
have a quick question about,
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
stump removal, if it's impactful to anything beside the driveway in abutting or abutters. The alteration of terrain via the stump removal, I'm just curious.
They haven't removed any stumps yet. They've
But they
only
will.
cut the trees, yes, but they will. The square footage for it would not be AOT generating.
Anything from you? No? Jay, anything? Anything from you, Jay?
Excuse me?
No pressure. I'm just saying, do you have anything? I saw you looking.
I was just concerned about the the elevation, the grading on the driveway, that's, what kind of, are you meeting standards there for the amount of grade? And are you mitigating, erosion and on this steep driveway?
So the driveway, Derry regs, it is within the Derry regulations. You can go up to 12% for the roadway. The first half of the roadway prior to the wetland crossing is mostly a cut. That ditch line is rip-wrapped for erosion purposes. The rest of the property, I actually intentionally put the road in a fill so that it would utilize the existing forest mat, so on and so forth. So there's no formal ditch line. It's sheet flow, everything as you go up the hill.
Anyone else? Val?
Just a thought, seeing it as just this cut across the property here, I'm wondering if this may be a corridor for some of these species. So I definitely think a site walk should be necessary to kind of gauge the surrounding, because this is a really narrow view of what we're looking at just for this project in particular.
Go ahead, Eileen.
One thing I noticed, and thank you so much for the larger sheet so I could see it. Number 8 says, maintain a 50-foot, no-cut, no-disturb buffer for wetlands on the site, with the exception of the proposed crossing. No vernal pools were identified, but vernal pools should have a 100-foot, no-cut, no-disturb buffer. And then number 10 addresses my question before about the turtles being able to cross through the culvert. It says the riprap should be filled with finer material, i.e. native wetland material, native wetland seed mix, or gravel in between the riprap to create a relatively smooth surface for the wildlife to traverse. So that's what I was getting at with regards to the turtles. They have a hard time if...
Sure, we can add that.
Especially large riprap stone. They have a hard time traversing through and making their way to the other end of the pipe.
Okay.
So
Where is that? Is that riprap at the head wall in the exit? Is that where the...
Yes, it is a
okay.
riprap apron there.
Go ahead, Bob.
Seems like kind of a moot point, because if you're following these plans, both the inlet and the outlet have trash racks on them.
Have what?
Trash racks.
Which means
It didn't have a trash rack on the culvert. There's a trash rack in the, at the entrance of the roadway. There's a small detention pond.
Yep.
That's what has the trash rack on it. I'm assuming you're looking at the trash rack detail?
It's not going to be on the culvert though, right?
Well, and then it says the outlet structure is dumping into a pipe.
Yeah, that's at the entrance of the road. That's not at the, that's not at the crossing. That's not at the wetland crossing, the outlet structure. That's at the beginning of the road by Kilray.
Oh,
It's in that
okay.
little
All right, okay.
ponded
Sorry.
area.
Sorry.
Oh, is that a storm drain coming off the road into that detention pond?
Correct.
Okay, I got you. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is increased pavement on the property. It's heading to Kilray, so we wanted to make sure that we're mitigating any increases. So
Yes,
put a little
that's
pond in there to take care of that.
All right, so it looks like we have to look at this, because with a detention pond, that adds another feature that we probably need to take a peek at.
See ya.
Yeah, it's in the front there, Bob. Nice pickup. All right, so do the commissioners agree we should walk this site?
Yeah.
Yes, Val, yes, Eileen, yes, Cheryl, yes, Jay.
Opportunity I could go to.
That means you can go too. All right, so we're going to need to walk the site. We normally do site walks on Mondays. What's your time frame on the project? Are you waiting on us to submit? Do you have like a...
Yeah, right now this is the next step in
This
the
is the next
process.
step.
So.
All right, so why don't just to expedite it, why don't you and I communicate some dates via email, and
Yes.
then we'll get you scheduled for a site walk as soon as we can.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what else happens with this next plan set, and sometimes we'll try to knock out 2 of them on one trip.
Okay.
Sound good?
And to Eileen's point, hopefully, if allowed, we can vote that day because it is a posted meeting.
It could.
approval?
But I'll tell you, with the addition of that detention pond, maybe not. I don't want to commit to that until we actually walk it. So yeah, there's a chance we could do that, or at least agree to do that. But let's cross that road when we get there. Sound good?
Sounds good. Do you have my email, or should I leave something?
We must have been emailing for you to get on the agenda, right?
I couldn't remember who I corresponded
Yeah,
with.
it was me.
So
Yeah.
it was you. Perfect.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you'll reach out to me, let me know what
No, why
Monday's good.
don't you shoot me an email tomorrow,
10-4.
and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would I be allowed to keep
Thank you.
this plan set?
Yep.
Or do you
If
need
you
it
want to
back?
keep, you all want to keep it, you can keep that. I brought everything to leave if you all wanted it.
Yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
You want a copy of the app? I brought a
I'll take it.
photocopy.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yep. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Yeah, shoot me an email and we'll get it sorted.
Sure. Cheryl has,
Thank you so much.
right now. You can bring some.
Okay, next up, we have 33 East Derry Road, book 5495, and page 2039. Please come up and state your name for the record. These are yours? These are yours?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, I got them right here.
It took, here.
This is much easier.
Just another one. I mean, maybe if one of these folks don't have one. Let me see these. Thank you very much.
You want to set so you can follow along? Set fee so you can follow along?
Thank you.
We'll take it. Yeah, that would be great. Probably walking.
You good? Awesome. Good evening, Commission. My name is Brent Cole. I'm with Granite Engineering, and we're here tonight for a project at the corner of Sherman Drive and East Derry Road. Brad Benson of Benson Lumber owns the existing house that's out there. He's looking to create an additional 2-lot subdivision, so a 3-lot subdivision in total, for his 2 sons. The 2 new lots will have access off of Sherman Drive. The existing house that's out there will remain and will continue to have access off of East Derry. There is not much to this. The lots lay out very nicely. They will have access to sewer. They also have access to water. There is a small wetland that runs along the adjoining southern property line. In typical fashion, one developer or one house built their lot up, the other house built their lot up. There was a low line down at the property line. This happens to be the outlet of a man-made pond on the east side of the property, and it drains along the property line towards a catch basin in Sherman Drive, and then goes closed drainage throughout there. For stormwater, we'll have some drip edges around the buildings. There will be some driveway swales that help bring the stormwater to its conclusion. But besides that, it's a pretty simple 2-lot subdivision in reality. With that, I'll hand it back to you, Mr. Chair, for any questions.
So this is before us because it's 3 lots, I believe, right? It sets the trigger off, and that's why we have to look at it, because there's no wetland impact.
No wetland impact. It is a minor subdivision. It's not a major subdivision. It's a minor. I think because it has wetlands on it, Liz felt the need to get your input, but there are no wetland impacts themselves, and the wetland is fairly low functioning.
Any construction near the wetland? What's the proximity of construction to the wetland?
All buildings will be set back at least 30 feet. Construction will be right around that 30 foot to the bulk of it. There is a wetland that runs along Sherman. It basically, as the wetland comes down in this area here, the man-made ditch that's out there becomes hydric. So we are probably 5 feet to that roadside ditch that happens to be a wetland, but in reality, it's a roadside ditch. There's even a drainage pipe that's running underneath it. So it's fully man-made.
So it looks like the closest structure is that lower left-hand corner of the house there.
Yeah, it's probably about 35 feet away.
Will there be silt fence and things like that?
Yep. We'll run silt fence along the tree line. The way the topography works, it doesn't drain directly to the wetland. It kind of drains to the roadway, which happens to have a wetland as a roadside ditch, but it doesn't drain directly into the area.
All right, commissioners, I'd like to hear from you on this. What are your thoughts?
I have a question. The plan shows a culvert with catch basins on either end of Sherman Drive. Is that existing or is that proposed?
That's existing.
And how large is that culvert? What's the size?
Let me see here.
It doesn't show the size on the plan. Just says CB7 and a CB8, but
It's a 12-inch.
is it?
And
It's just basically a roadside swale, is that what that is? Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 feet off the edge of pavement.
Anyone else, any other commissioners' questions on the plan? Does anyone feel that we need to walk this site?
I'd like to take a look at it.
Eileen, you want to look at all of them?
Yeah, well, you don't really know, you really can't tell what's going on with just looking at a set of plans. You really have to look on the ground to see what's going on.
Anyone else feel like we need to look at this site? Do a walk here? I'm fairly familiar with this site. It's around the corner from my house. The previous owner was the first guy I talked to when I rolled into Derry. Great guy, and he was a pleasure to talk to. So I'm fairly familiar with the site. I feel, Eileen, that it's pretty well presented. I feel pretty confident that we could give approval on this plan, but if it's the commission's purview, I would seek some input from the commission.
Mr. Chair, the other concern I have is, like he said, the corner of that, the second house that's at the bottom of the plan, you said the corner is about 35 feet from the wetland edge, and yet I don't see any silt fence on the plan. I'd want to see that on the plan if we were going to sign off on this, protecting the wetland.
We can certainly add that as a condition. We had already gone through TRC and we talked with Mark LaRue about it, and have acquiesced to the fact that we're going to add some silt fence around there. Mr. Benson would have anyways. We focus more on the driveway, but we can certainly add silt fence wherever you want silt fence. Surprisingly, the way the topography works, you can't just put silt fence anywhere. There's no drainage to it. The silt fence would actually run parallel with Sherman Drive to collect it. So it'd be it wouldn't necessarily barrier the wetland. It would run parallel to Sherman Drive in front of it because the topography runs down towards the roadway. So as much as it's only 35 feet from the wetland, the way that the water runs, it's more like 50 or 55 feet from the wetland.
But when you go to construct a house, I've seen this, believe me, I've spent many years, over 30 years, watching these kinds of projects. And machinery has to get around, excavators are going to go out there and they're going to start changing that topography and they're going to be close to the wetland. Even though the corner is going to be 35 feet away, the machine is going to have to be flattening trees and making changes to grade. And without a silt fence that goes along the wetland's edge, there could be damage to the wetland.
We will absolutely add a silt fence along that wetland edge.
So just having it parallel to Sherman Drive I don't think that meets the mark
We're just trying to make sure that the silt fence that the water is receiving, or the water that the silt fence is receiving,
Yeah,
is
I get
actually
that.
effective and not just running and
Yeah.
creating a ditch.
No,
But
I
we
get
will,
that, but I also know the machinery is going to have to be moving around out there. There's, they have to be able to build that house. They're going to be
we'll add silt fence wherever you want silt
changing the
fence.
soil.
So you would be, so I agree with Eileen, silt fence acts as a silt fence, but it also acts as a barrier for a machine operator. When they're running a machine, everyone knows you can't run over a silt fence, right? So it's there. I know it's there for its intended purposes, but I do appreciate what Commissioner Chabot is saying, that it creates a barrier that everyone is well aware what it's doing. So if you would be agreeable to putting the silt fence along the entire wetland perimeter at the bottom of the plan, in addition to where you think it belongs on Sherman Road, I think that would, that may help us move this along.
I think that's a great belt and suspenders approach.
Okay, good. Any other comments from the commission? Go ahead, Bob.
On grading drainage utility plan, make a note that under the house, there's an existing well to be discontinued, but I don't see any note in the notes pertaining to decommissioning that well. Is that, I don't know if it's a standard that they need to follow state standards for decommissioning a well.
You're talking about the septic or the well?
I said the well, they're also decommissioning a septic system, but if
Right.
that's a drilled well, there's a proper way to do it rather than just cut the pipe off and cover it. I don't, do you know how deep the well is, or?
We don't know how deep, but we can certainly reference the state standards for flowable fill being put into that
Yeah,
well and capping it.
Decommissioning it.
Yep.
So why don't we add to that, Bob, if you'd accept that, maybe a friendly comment? Because they're also decommissioning a septic tank, why don't we ask the applicant to follow state, or what is this? What is the one that you always remind me of? The practical standards? No, I'm talking to you, Bob. The general.
It's, yeah.
What is it?
I just know that there's standards for decommissioning.
There's rules, yes.
And
DES
will
has
they be
rules.
considered state standards or just generally accepted standards?
The idea, I think.
They're state standards.
State standards, all right. So why don't we suggest to the applicant that they decommission both the well and septic using the state standards in doing that? And if there is not state standards, there must be some publication of generally accepted standards.
The DES has that.
Yeah, so let's have a note that they're going
I'm
to,
seeing it's going to be under a house, that's why.
right. Let's have a note that it's going to be decommissioned based on the state standards or the generally accepted standards of decommissioning both a well and a septic tank.
That's fine with us.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone else? Val? No? Jay? Cheryl? Sound good? Okay. Anyone else interested in accepting this plan this evening? If they are, then I'll accept the motion. If they are not, then we're going to schedule a site walk.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the plan with the amendments given by the commission.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Val, second by Mr. Metz, to accept the plan as presented with the amendments as noted in the minutes. First and second on the plan, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition? Hearing none, motion approves. Thank you.
Thank you, Commission.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do there's a spot here for me to sign this plan. Do you want me to sign this plan, or do you still have a way to go?
We do have to submit new plans
Okay.
to get TRC to review.
All right, so we'll
it.
wait on that, and they'll tell me when to come sign the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'm going to hold on to this if that's okay.
Yep. Some light reading.
Yeah. Let's have a small pile of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Yep. You have a good night.
Take care.
Okay, Chair's report. We have a few. We had a meeting, I had a meeting with the new property owners of Ashley Drive. Ashley Drive, since it was presented to us, has sold. There's a new owner. Just to bring your memory back to Ashley Drive. Ashley Drive was that property that was brought before us where they asked us to accept an easement for some property that was located right on the project. And we had a lot of questions about that easement and a lot of questions about the amount of money they were seeding our account with to monitor that easement. So we asked them to withdraw and they did. So I met with them at Town Hall, the new owners, and we had a nice conversation about where I think that project needs to go in order for the commission to consider it. I basically just shared our collective thoughts with them, and they took that meeting, went back, and then later. A couple of weeks later, I got a communication from our town administrator, Mike Fowler, that the applicant, the new owners, were not interested in either changing the presentation they made to us at this moment, and that the town may proceed with accepting the easement without the Conservation Commission being involved. And so that's being floated now at the city council level, and they're gonna try to hash that out. And I'm guessing we'll probably see it again down the road, but that's where it is right now. The discussion is happening between the town administrator and the new property owner. We are continuing discussions on the property that we've been talking about in non-public, and in our non-public tonight, we have a member of South that's going to be joining us in non-public to talk to us about where that project is. And today we had a site walk on Island Pond Road regarding help me on this, is 6-lot subdivision, 6, 7, 6? Six. Yeah, and we had a good walk. We talked to the applicant, had some recommendations, some concerns. We shared those with the applicant. The applicant's going to make some changes to his presentation to us and be before us again on November 3rd? November 3rd? Yes. And I want to thank Eileen for digging in on that project and really urging the applicant to make some changes to that plan. So thank you, Eileen. Okay, I think we are ready to roll with Community Garden. Jay.
Yes, hi. Val and I have been going back and forth trying to come up with plans for the end of this year into the next. And we've been going back and forth with some emails, but I decided to put this down into a Word document that we will continue to show the areas of concern with the categories being soil renewal, the New Hampshire Community Garden Survey, end of the season protocol, and how to communicate with our gardeners. Beth is working some answers to this already, but we want to kind of meet with her with our ideas together with you, and then I think it will be the synergy will yield better results. Although your email to the gardeners for the year-end protocol it's common sense. There's no arguing against it. It's the protocol as it goes right now. The only thing that I questioned, Beth, was the when of what is the end of the year. We don't want to see people leaving their things all through the winter time. So I guess the answer would be to keep in touch with them, update, and ask for certain deadlines. Do you have any feedback from those emails?
I did not receive any responses. to the email that you're referring to, the one that went out to all the community gardeners, yeah. My plan was not setting the deadline, which is officially December 31st in that initial email, but following up with a reminder email that had the deadline so that there was just sort of that like, oh, I don't know the deadline, so I better get on it. And then like a follow-up email that is a reminder with like the drop dead deadline of December 31st. Or, you know, before the ground freezes is really, but according to Will Lowenthal's, how he had expressed to me what the end of season protocols were, it was December 31st is the deadline.
I just had this thought now that if people were struggling to meet that deadline or unable just to kind of get back there now that the season's coming to end, if we were able to offer any assistance for that, because I started breaking down my plot already, and I'd be happy to kind of collect some things. And I know some people have, you know, arches and stuff, and I'd assume that they would come and take care of that stuff on their own. But if anyone needed assistance with that kind of stuff, is that something that we could mention in our like reminder, like, hey, if you can't, we will respond. You should let us know. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, we could do it. I'm wondering even if it were an event, if it might, you know, like if it were, oh, like all the community gardeners are going to get together and we're going to help each other, you know, with our different breaking down tasks. That could be a fun community
That was written in my document. We are a community garden community. Let's do things in community as much as we can and have an event. The beginning of the season, at the end. Be great.
Yeah, love it. Great idea.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think we can kind of just keep communicating on whether or not what the next verbiage will be for a reminder email and that kind of stuff. So, sounds good.
We'll talk next steps, you know, later, offline.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jay.
Anything else, Jay?
That's all I had.
All right, personnel, Mr. Metz.
Oh, we have 2 employees, and they're doing a very good job, so I think we'll keep them on for another month.
At least.
That's great.
That's it.
You're still on at public outreach, Mr. Metz.
I'm going to leave most of it to Beth for her land manager report, because that's where a lot of the work is being done. You and I have to have a chat about where to find the work you're doing, because I was on ARC today, I was on the town website and all of that, so I need to know where you're updating so I can look at it and take a peek.
Sure thing. So Cheryl has officially accepted the chairship of public outreach. Is that?
See, I'm off the hook. That's good. I'm still on the committee, but.
Yes, you are still on the committee.
Whatever you need.
Yeah.
However you need.
And we have a meeting scheduled for me to just catch her up sort of with what's been done. And I think that will offer a good opportunity to just kind of clean all that up and make it something that you can easily navigate to and see kind of where we're at. Yeah, but sure thing.
Tammy, can you update the boilerplate for that? Actually, while we're talking about boilerplate, quickly, Pledge of Allegiance. After Pledge of Allegiance, let's add in emergency exits. And then after approval of minutes, we're going to add in correspondence, and then public outreach is now going to be Commissioner Holbrook. And next we have Mr. Metz talking about TRC.
No TRC since our last meeting. I think there's some on Friday. It's tough to keep a schedule because they seem to be meeting a lot. There's a lot going on in Derry. So if the plans need to come before us, I'll make sure that they get on our schedule. If they don't, if it's not necessary, I'm trying to attend as many TRCs as I can because I'd like to know what's going on. Liz has been very helpful. Caroline from the planning office have been helpful and guiding me through it to learn. So I'll keep going to as many as I can.
Yeah, and I signed 2 sets of plans tonight before this meeting, and one of them, it looks like Grindhouse is pretty much done. So we should probably see some groundbreaking on that happening soon. And I signed off on one other one. Maybe up at Delonte, up that one.
Oh yeah, because he had some change of use.
Yeah, maybe some changes up there. So, And moves us to state compliance. Eileen?
On state compliance, there's a lot, DES has really been busy. They're changing a lot of rules regarding wetlands, shoreland, alteration of terrain, and also the ecological review, like we just experienced about the turtles. That's now being conducted by DES and not the Fish and Game anymore. It's to move things along for applicants. There's a lot of changes in fees being proposed. The statutory permit by notification for forestry has a form that's going to have requirement that applicants meet minimum impact standards and follow forestry BMPs, and the fees will range from $25 to $225 depending on the project. And they must use the data check tool. There's
Eileen,
also...
tell me, on this applicant that we had here today, that permit by notification, so historically that would come before us like after he made the application. Now, he told us tonight that he needed us to approve it to submit the application, and I don't know if that's one of the changes you were talking about, because I don't remember that ever being the case.
No, it wasn't the case previously.
So is that new, or is he mistaken?
I'd have to check into that.
I think that's probably worth investigating.
Yeah.
Because
I
usually
will.
we get that notification,
Yep.
and then we chime in.
Yeah, I
Well-
want to check on it because things are changing really
Yeah,
quick.
find out about that one, because that one did catch me a little off guard tonight.
In fact, there's a whole bunch of public comment periods, some of which have already closed, unfortunately, for these rules
Right.
changes. There's wetlands permitting options for docking structures. There's going to be, dock owners will have the option of voluntary dock registration as an alternative to permitting for every repair or replacement of an existing dock. This option offers an easier way to prove compliance with certain state statutes and rules. So they're trying to make it easier for applicants. And they've got instructions on the DES Protected Shoreland webpage about that. There's also a nice erosion control fact sheet for construction within the protected shoreland that's on the DES website. Something that we really need to be aware of here at the Conservation Commission is that city and town clerks only now have, there's only a requirement for an applicant to place one application, file one application with the town clerk. We usually get an application as well given to the Conservation Commission. We will no longer have that, so we're going to have to really coordinate closely with the town clerk to make sure that we're getting a look at those applications that get filed. There's also a guidance document for the town clerk that's been updated and become available.
So they do, when they get them,
Yeah.
they scan them and send them to me.
Hopefully they do, yeah.
Yeah, well, at
It's
least,
only one.
yeah,
There's only going to be one copy now.
just one, yep.
Yep. There used to be 4 copies, but now there's just one. There's also going to be a new reference line proposed for native shoreland plants and work along the shoreline of public waters like lakes and ponds. They completed a shoreland program permit guidance survey. And if you want more details, there's a vegetation management water quality fact sheet that they've come out with. And you could also contact anytime you have questions regarding a project you're proposing on your lake or pond or shoreline. You can call the inspector of the day at 603-271-2147. It's an important number to have if you live on a lake or a pond. Also, property transfers with septic systems in protected shoreland will now require an evaluation and a state-licensed septic system evaluator. Resources to help with that process are available in their, the DES fact sheet regarding septic systems in protected shoreland. So, another good thing to be aware of, if you wanted to sign up for it, to be more aware of these rules and as they come out, and fact sheets that as they come out, is to subscribe to the municipal Echo Link newsletter, which is an e-newsletter that New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services puts out. They electronically distribute it. And so if you subscribe, they would ask you for your email address, and then you could receive all this information. That's all
Thank you, Eileen. Property maintenance, Bob Spurl.
So we did some work Saturday up at the farm.
Corneliuson.
Corneliuson.
That one.
We got about, I'm gonna say 200 feet, maybe 300 feet of brush and limbs and everything else all cleared.
Nice.
But if you've walked up there and never noticed it, there's large mounds of dirt along the high side of the trail. And that's gonna have to be knocked down. It'll just take some time.
Any photos? You guys take any photos?
Was DerryCAM there?
What?
Photos. Anybody take any photos of the work?
We had Derry Public TV with us.
Oh, perfect.
I
Okay.
thought so.
Very
I was
beginning
like,
of
oh
it.
no, did I forget to send an email?
Cheryl, that's why we need. This is why we
Members
need.
of the running club showed up.
This is why we need social media, because that should have all been, on our. Yeah. Good. Sorry, Bob. Yep.
So that was it. We did pretty good for 3 guys. And then we went and scoped out on the Ball property, the new piece. There is already an established trail in there, and they were wondering about the possibility of getting that open to use. And I asked them to put together a proposal and bring it in.
Nice.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right. Thank you, Bob. Land acquisition. We are proceeding with our non-public piece of property. We're gonna proceed into that tonight. As I mentioned earlier, we have someone from SELT here today. They're gonna bring us up to speed on where that process is, and it's exciting, and we're moving along on it. And next we have Val on reporting compliance.
Yeah, so I actually walked Corneliuson on Sunday, so I did notice.
Corneliuson this weekend, huh?
Yeah, so I did notice some changes, so I think I didn't take any pictures of that, I should have, but I did notice some changes. I was able to go through and I walked the property line, the trails that are in there. I did not walk the right-of-way access onto English Range, though. It looked like there was some work going on in the field. I didn't want to interrupt. I was able to draft up a monitoring report based on the L-chip template that Beth had connected me with. And on that, I did send that over just shortly before the meeting. I did want to try to get hard copies out, especially for others to
Yeah, I saw it. Yep.
but on there, it's pretty okay. There were 3 tree stands in total found on the property. I did reach out, I can't recall the individual that I reached out to, but in regards as to some of their own processes about going forward with removing those and having some things done. I did note that while our hunting season and uses are listed on the information kiosk at the front, that having some really obvious notation saying hunting is allowed, this is how you can go about it, you need to have it labeled, stuff like that. I also reached out in terms of verbiage for some of that posting. Some other things that I noticed there were many signs of the green ash borer beetle. I did kind of take some notes on that. Yeah, quite a few signs of that. There are some pictures on there as well. I only took one of the pictures that I had because I feel like identifying every tree in there at this point is not up to the scope of this annual report. What else did I have in here? I did note again some of those refuse piles. There are some, bricks and various debris. There's still the irrigation pipes that are out there. There's still various car parts that are out there. I do have some of those marked on the map. And I don't know if that's something that we should reach out to the family about, maybe see if that's stuff that they had put aside there, or if that's something that we can kind of connect and take care of ourselves and get that off of the property. It's definitely an eyesore having those piles out there. Another thing that I did want to know in terms of other property maintenance, in terms of volunteers doing this in the future, is along the, I believe, northeastern corner of the property there, where the stone walls do serve as pretty good boundary lines throughout the property. However, there is some old rusting barbed wire along that edge of the property. We did get that marked with flag tape, and that is in the report as well. What else did I have in here? But yeah, it's all in the report. You can see it there. A fun note, a gaggle of turkeys walked through and were screaming and hollering, and it scared me while I was walking there, but that was really fun. Otherwise, I'm not going to submit that just yet. I would like to kind of get some other eyes on it for property maintenance and our land manager, of course. And then another thing is, did we change the password for the L-chip account? I can't get into it, so
Okay.
we might have to go the reset route, and I believe it's still hooked up to your
Okay.
email. So if you could do that, that would be great. That way we can submit this once it is ready. So that's on track for getting that report in before the end of the year. We're at good shape now. The other thing that I had brought up at the 2 meetings ago, I believe, because I missed the last one, the Karis property, I found that it has an annual report due to NHDES because it does have that protection for the well there. I reached out to CELT. CELT says, no, you did it. I reached out to DES saying, hey, if we're going to do this, how am I going to go about it? They said, it shouldn't be your concern. CELT does it, and here's their report from last year. So I'm kind of going in and back and forth right now about whose responsibility is. But if it is determined to be ours, that is top of my to-do list, getting that done before the end of the year.
So Celt's here, so you can interrogate him.
No, I have direct names. I'm working with Katie, and Katie was the one who did it for us last year also.
Yeah, you can
so.
twist his arm and force him to answer right now.
Yeah, that sounds
We'll
good.
have it non-public, so.
Yeah, and it won't be televised, no one will know.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries on that. But that, I do, have my finger to the pulse on that, waiting to get that done. And otherwise, that's all I have for reporting compliance, aside from going through other documents, seeing if there are any other reports that I missed similar to the Karis one. But we're going through documents and stuff. Beth, Bob, and I were going through kind of templates for that. And doing this site walk actually served as a good start for that, because like I said, I do have a good chunk of the Corneliuson file done. I just want to make sure it's 100%. The portion that I did have, I kind of put myself in the shoes of a volunteer and put together a lovely, handy dandy, just kind of clipboard and stuff that has all the documents that we went over. So once I have that template outlined for Corneliuson, that's definitely something that we're going to go forward with for any of the other properties that have monitoring reports due. So that's what's in the works.
Val, incredible report. Great job. Great job. Okay, Beth, you're up.
All right.
Land manager report.
Yeah, so Greg Laro and I met with Mike Fowler last week to present our budget and timeline. We're working with a budget of 100 hours of my time and a timeline. Our deadline is April 1st that we're aiming for. So we're aiming for 5 to 6 months, and that's to get this community wildfire plan, community wildfire protection plan created. And after our meeting tomorrow, we're gonna group with the core team and get our next meeting scheduled where we will all review the template of the CWPP with John Neely and make sure that we all understand it, and then discuss how to get a survey out to residents so that we can gather some information about what they know and what their concerns are. For the community garden, I sent that email out. I also met with Karen, who is one of the community gardeners there, and we recorded a video explaining how to use the compost bins. And that will go out with the reminder email to gardeners. Created signs to explain how to use the compost bins. So Karen has been generously maintaining the compost bins this season. And so we kind of discussed how she's been doing that and how we want to present it to other gardeners, how they can participate, what we want them to help with, what we don't want them to do or help with. So we had that discussion, so that was nice. Jay and I created a private Facebook group for community gardeners only. So now there's, if you know what a private Facebook group is, right? It's like not available to the public. It's just so the people who are gardening at the community garden can communicate with one another if they want to, without necessarily like sharing contact information. And there were several people who clicked that link and joined.
What's it called? Beth, what's it called?
Good question. I believe it's called Broadview Community Garden Gardeners. I'd have to double check.
And what is going to be the criteria to be able to join that group?
To be a gardener at the community garden, which we can verify via email. So if they put in the same email that they used to reach out to us, because we require that everybody have an email in our system for them to have a plot at the community garden. So we can set it up so that they're verifying questions that they need to answer, and we can do that either just by the honor system of are you a community gardener, yes or no, or if we want something a little more concrete, we can ask them to input their email that they used with us.
So it's not Broadview Farm Community Garden. There's one there that has that. That might be the old one, right? Or is that it? That one has the registration form.
So it's a private page, so you wouldn't be able to search it.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So how do I want to join, obviously. So how do the commissioners join?
So I can email you all a link. So
Okay,
that's
perfect.
how you have to be emailed a link in order to be able to join that one.
Excellent.
But I do believe there was a page that Will Lowenthal was managing. I can ask him actually if
Yeah,
he
I
can
just
grant
found
me
it.
admin access to
The
that.
last post on that came up as 2019. so-
Yeah.
We should maybe have him take that down.
Yeah, I know with reaching out to Doug Rathburn and at the town, there are processes that we need to follow to set up a page so that it can be controlled by the town basically, which we have done. So we do have, where is it? I have too many pages that I that I monitor on Facebook. So it's Derry NH Conservation. So you can search that. We haven't done much with it now, but that is a page that's searchable on Facebook.
Yeah, so maybe if you could put on your list to have,
Yeah.
we'll take that Broadview Farm Community Garden page down. That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, so for property maintenance and monitoring, there will be a natural resources inventory done at the Broadview Annex. That's this Wednesday. So Normandu is going to be doing that on Wednesday. And Noah's Tractor Service is going to be brush hogging at Broadview, the areas that Eileen and I marked on Thursday. And we've had some requests from the public. So one is from Aurora Weatherby, was asking if the town has any restrictions on target shooting on conservation properties. So I did reach out to the Derry PD, and she did as well. So there was, so Officer Cody Johnson, he did some research on it as well. And we both came up with the same answer. There really isn't, there's no law about it one way or the other. So it's not enforceable if we were to put a restriction on it. There's no law to back that up to enforce it. At least that's my understanding.
But there's state guidelines that have to be adhered to for any type of discharge of firearms anywhere in the state. Yep.
Yes.
You need to be 300 feet away from any dwelling.
Right, that's certainly in the books. But also, there's a concern that I think we should have is if any lead shot is being used, that can cause, over time, in a target shooting area, that can cause a lot of soil contamination with lead.
Yes.
which is not desirable, I don't think, for our conservation.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, you'd have to have some pretty old ammo for it to be lead. And most, lead ammo hasn't been around for a little while now. So it'd have to be something that was stored in an old cabinet or something like that.
I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of experience because I worked with the National Guard for 30 years. And in fact, we did have a target shooting area on one of our properties, and it was very contaminated with
With lead, yeah.
So, something to be aware of. I'd have a concern about that.
So the New Hampshire Administrative Code, Res 7301.11. This is from a response that I drafted to Aurora. So that res outlines specific restrictions. And one of them is the 300 feet that Jay mentioned. And another is that you need to be 100 feet away from any body of water, including a stream. And that was in there for that reason, because of lead contamination potential. And there are a lot of laws around discharging a firearm. But this 7301.11 also details like the types of arms and ammunitions and targets allowed, when you can do it. So between Columbus Day and Memorial Day, or rather between Memorial Day and Columbus Day. So like the summer months, you need to be a quarter, that 300 feet changes to a quarter mile. And the Boy Scouts also recommend having a 20-foot high backstop and 8-foot high side berms. So those were the things that I pulled. Again, this is not per Derry's regulations, right? we're not mentioning this, but this is just from other entities that have come up with laws around this. And that's sort of what I put together to respond to her about that inquiry.
Again, I just want to be sure, in our email conversation, and I pointed out, it's RES 7301, which is our department rules, Department of Natural and Cultural Resources. So they're not enforceable, as I understand it, except for on our property.
On your properties, right.
So if we want those rules or something similar to that to pertain to all the Derry public lands, I don't know the process for making that happen.
Yeah,
Those were just
probably need to be a town.
as to
Probably need
what
to
we
become a
could
town
look at.
ordinance or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to default to the state guidelines. I think that's our safest bet. Yeah. Anything else, Beth?
Sorry, I'm still on. Then we had a tree concern on a property, 30 Hubbard Hill Road, abutting the Low property. So that I went out and I looked at the tree. I'm going to confer with Bob to see what type of tree it is and if you think that it's a concern. It wasn't obviously dying to me, but I'm no expert by far. So I did also, though, note some encroachment on the Low property, like on those borders. So just some like yard refuse, both organic and inorganic, just kind of like over the line there. So I would like to work out with Bob, the proper course of action for that. With public outreach, I did meet with Doug again to move our map modernization project forward, and that ArcGIS is also going to be a requirement for creating the CWPP. Like, we're going to need to be able to make maps for that. So I reached out to him about certain like layers and data that we will need in what we have access to in ArcGIS that will help us with that. And I mentioned I'm going to meet with Cheryl next week, and we're going to review our goals for social media. So learning opportunities, I have this as kind of a standing item on my report. There is a clothing waste conservation and community Zoom webinar this Wednesday at noon. Wednesday, October 22nd at noon. And I wondered, because of course I can email you all a link, but I wondered if I could make it a practice to post on our website. I have the ability to post on the conservation, area of the town website, and we can put an end date on it so that it doesn't just like get old and sit there. So I could, as like Eileen brings up these like training opportunities with NHECC, right? I can just make it a standard practice to post that publicly to help spread the word of those, and just put an end date as like when it ends, if that's the pleasure of the commission for us to do that.
Yeah, so the link expires after the date. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Okay. And then for naming properties, we want to make sure that all of our properties have a proper name. And not all of them do. So the properties, based on my research from a wonderful spreadsheet that Mark Fleischer, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. What is it? Fleischer, thank you. So Mark Fleischer put together a spreadsheet of that lists all of our properties and some details of them and where to find them in the town records. And based on that, we have 23 Gulf Road, which has no name, 7.5 Willow Street, whose name is technically South Range Realty Trust, Overledge, which is a collection of properties on Overledge Drive, Lewis, which is 31 Maxwell Drive. So I'm not sure if that name needs to stick, for if someone donated it, but.
I think that was Lewis Builders at the time.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean it needs to
that's fine.
stick.
Yes. And then Scobie Pond is another collection of properties on Scobie Pond Road. And then this one, so Derry Senior Development at 6 Drew Road. That was another one I wasn't sure if that could be renamed.
Could I offer another one?
Yeah.
There is the Olson Road property, and it's dubbed the Town Forest. However, to me, the Town Forest feels like something like...
It was always called Ballard Town Forest.
Yeah.
Actually, it
Really?
did have a name, yes.
Well, yeah, so that's where I'd seen it, but I mean, I guess for me, when I think of a town forest, like, it's really like a high property, something that's really like common used for the public and stuff, and has really good access, but that area doesn't necessarily
Doesn't have
the-
great access, but we did have a site walk in the summer, which was really interesting for us and educational for us. There is a way to get into that from Olson Road, and it was actually a lovely walk that we went on.
Yeah, no, it is a nice area. I'm an Olson Road resident, but
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
But to me, I feel like it is not necessarily the town forest.
Gotcha. No, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Weber Forest is Weber Forest. I understand.
Yeah, so it could be like Ballard Forest. I don't know, I'm
Let
just
me back
throwing
up.
it out there.
Yeah, it is.
As opposed to, like you said, Weber Town, well, Weber Forest, actually. It wasn't Weber Town Forest, but Weber Forest, but Ballard Town Forest that's the name it's always been.
Yeah, its official name is Ballard Town
Beth,
Forest.
can I back up a little bit of my, so I asked Beth to do a little research on all of our properties, because I also don't want them to be some address. There's I want to have an effort that we name all these properties. There's plenty of people that have been involved in conservation in this community for a very long time that I think some of these properties may deserve to be named by those people that helped preserve them, or people that were on the commission for a long time, or whoever it may be. And I'd like to get the public involved in maybe naming these properties. So this is the first baby step. We're doing this inventory. But now we have to go to the property, the people that have awarded us the easement, or the people that have ownership to the easement. It might just be us, and we might have exclusive naming rights to it. It may not. So the next step will be to take that list and determine which one of those properties we can, say, rename or initially name. And then after that process, then we'll figure out what those names are going to be. But that's that's the beginning of this discussion. So Beth is at the infancy of it, and it's going to take a while, but I want to have some fun with it. I'd like to get the public involved in it. Maybe get some of the local elementary schools involved in it, and have some fun with it. So that's my goal on that project. Thank you, Beth. Continue, please.
Yep, that was my last item, so I'm all done.
Oh, good close. That's a good closer. All right, thank you. Great report, Beth. Thank you for your hard work. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
By the commission and folks in town. Okay, Mr. Foote, you're up.
I guess we'll start with some sad news. Derry police officer retired, Officer Landry. He was the SRO for Pinkerton and passed away this morning after an illness. So thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family and the department. And tough time. He's greatly respected and greatly loved by and admired by the student body at the middle schools, elementary schools, and the high schools. So again, it's going to be a terrible loss. November 22nd will be the Household Hazardous Waste Day in Londonderry. That will be at Nelson Field, which is Londonderry Athletic Field behind the Central Fire Station off of Sergeant Road. That will be from 8:30 to 12 p.m. And again, November 22nd, it's a Saturday, 8:30 to 12 in Londonderry. So anything that the transfer station doesn't take, that's the opportunity to bring it to the Hazardous Waste Day, gasoline, things like that.
Paint, I think, too, right? Paint, even paint, right?
Yeah,
different paint.
non-water-based.
Yeah.
I think they take the water-based now at the transfer station,
Sure.
but anything non-water-based.
Isn't there usually, there's a flyer that's put out with what's accepted and what's not accepted?
Yeah, I haven't
So-
seen it yet, but yes.
I know it usually is.
Yes.
So, okay.
So just so mark your calendars. And the new fire station should be opening in a few weeks. The transition will start moving over there. They have a couple punch lists to get done, and then they'll start transitioning for that. And then the old fire station will be decommissioned, and we'll see what happens with that. We did have a vacancy in the town.
Charlie, are they closing the one at the Rotary? Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yes. Completely. Sorry, the mic's there. We had a vacancy in the town council. As you know, I mentioned a few meetings ago. We had Councilor Dave Granessi resigned and moved to Florida. That position has been filled with former town councilor David Mills. He'll be filling in the interim until March, at which point that will be open for election, for the March election. And that is it.
All right, thank you, Charlie. Next, we have update on conservation activities. I think we've covered them all in the previous part of the agenda. So
I actually
our
have
next,
a question with
Yeah, go
regard
ahead.
to that, if I might.
Absolutely.
I have a neighbor who was actually very inspired by a proposed development project near my house that did not go through up to this point. But he started, so I sort of give him a little direction as a new council member, whatever you would advise, commission member, I should say. It's called Earthbound and Wild Collective, and it's a nonprofit that he started. He received state approval to raise funds for conservation land. He'd like to, see, his idea is to do classes and things, of the sort that might raise funds that, could be put toward conservation land in town. So he's very excited about it. He happened to text me about it again today, so I thought I would bring it up and see if I could either encourage him to come in or if there's some sort of direction for him.
There is. We do have a vacancy as a alternate. If you wanted to get involved that way and have a seat at the table, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And then the other thing is we could open up a mic for him at one of our meetings, and he could he could speak. Either way. Why don't you be his go-to person and set it up? Okay. You can maybe tie it in to your public outreach position. Thanks. Okay, so we need to go into non-public, and we need to invite quite a few folks to this non-public. Mr. Foote, I'm going to ask for your guidance on protocol. Do we go right into the non-public now, or do we close this meeting first? Go right into non-public. So I'll accept a motion to go into non-public.
Move to go into non-public session per RSA 91, Section A, Paragraph 3, Section 2, for the purpose of discussing land acquisitions.
I'll second that motion.
All right, so we have a first by Mr. Metz, second by Ms. Chabot. We need a roll call vote on this. We'll start to my left.
Aye.
Eileen?
Yes.
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. I need a motion to invite Ben Engel from South, Charlie Foote from the Derry Town Council, and Beth Carver, our land manager.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Metz. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Eileen and Val. We need a roll call again, starting to my left.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Chair votes yes. It's unanimous. So we are going to close the mic, go into non-public. Thank you. Owen.